the commitment scale. And I want to start out by asking you, what is the difference between having an idea, having an intention, trying something or making an attempt, and then committing? So think about this for yourself, and I'm going to break each one of these down and talk about how we can make better commitments with our work and whatever projects we're doing in our business. So here is Kathy's commitment scale, and she kind of asks us, where are you on the scale? Okay, are you in the intention mode? You have an idea, or have you made attempts to do it, or are you at the other end of it where you've actually made a commitment? If you haven't taken the Kolbe A Index, go to kolbe.com or email me and I can give you more information. But this is really helpful when it comes to talking about your creative process. And the commitment scale isn't part of the test, but it really gives us an idea after we've taken the test and after we've had a chance to look at our creative process, what is important to think about. The Kolbe test measures one aspect of your mind, cognitive mind, or your intellect and your skills and your reason and knowledge, spelled wrong. There's your emotional side, your personality and preferences, and then there's your conative side, which is your drive and instinct and actions. And this is what the Kolbe test talks about. The Kolbe measures your conative drive, instinct, and how you actually take action. So it gives us insight into the creative process. Then we confront our own failure and confusion at how to do something. And then basically we sort of say, well, I think I'm going to give up now and try something else. So that happens a lot with the creative process. There's nothing wrong with that. That's really the way that we do it. And that is fine. But more awareness can help you get better results. So I want to take a look at this commitment scale and really think about what is missing here. I love it because I think about, okay, am I in the intention zone? Am I just trying different things? Or am I really committing to doing something? So what I feel is kind of missing here is the idea of finding a system or following through or dealing with that failure and learning phase of commitment. So when you talk about intention, I really think of it in the idea zone. Okay, so you have an idea and you want to do something. Then the quick start is the action where you're actually starting to make it, starting to do it. And then you come into, how am I going to do it? How am I going to find a system to do it? And then you actually really finish it and complete it. So let's break it down. Intention, attempt, failure and learning, commitment and finishing something, and then looking at it and then doing it all over again. So I'm going to take each one of these one by one. First, intention. Ideas are really exciting, and when you're in this part of the commitment scale, research feels really productive. Plans, you feel like you're doing something when you make a plan. This is part of my problem. I plan a lot, but I don't follow through on certain things. It takes a lot more effort for me to follow through, and that seems obvious, but when you're making a plan, sometimes it feels like you're actually doing it or following through. So those are the pluses though. The negatives or the minuses to the intention zone are really that sometimes we don't look ahead, we don't look at the unforeseen outcomes or unintended consequences of whatever project we're going to do. Then we don't think about how hard it is to actually do it. Eric Maisel, who is a creativity coach, always tells us and his students, don't ever think that it's going to get easier, right? It doesn't get easier because there's always new problems that are going to come up. We don't think about time constraints, and it's the difficulty of creating new habits or fitting it into your life with all the other stuff. These are all the issues that come up when you're in the intention zone, both the positives and the negatives. Then when you attempt something, what you quick starts, right, where you just want to dive in and do something, ideas and our imagination are so exciting. We love to dive into the work because it feels really great. It makes us feel like a real artist, and we are. But the negative side of that is, where is this going? We start to get into that spin zone. What am I actually doing here? Or we get bored quickly. The idea of difficulty does set in and we say to ourselves, well, this is really harder than I had originally attempted it to be. So I'm going to start something new, and maybe it'll be easier. Our time constraints, distractions, and then, of course, we're on to the next thing already without finishing the first thing. Okay, so I'm adding this part to the commitment scale, the follow through, or the fail and learn phase. In this phase, really, in a sense, you're almost in the zone, right? We're trying different things. Failure reveals the right path. We have the chance to create and learn and to stay in that flow and to create new systems for ourselves. That's on the positive side. On the negative side, we think, it didn't really work the way I envisioned it, or abandoning it really seems like the right thing to do before I waste even more time. So we abandon things too quickly. We start a lot of things and finish very few things, or really finish them to the level that we want to finish them. It's more like abandoning them rather than finishing them. We don't see progress, and then we beat ourselves up about it. So it's easier and feels better to just start something new rather than to finish the thing we are doing because it's just too hard. Okay, when you're in the commit zone, we're committed to failing and learning. We take massive action, which means keeping going until you're finished. This is from Brooke Castillo. She talks about massive action, and that means keep going until you finish your project and then decide what to learn from it. So that's the positive side. That's hard, but it's the positive side. Then the negative side of it is I feel stuck. I feel bored. It's monotonous to continue till the end. I have a bad attitude and I just want to start something new. So when we're done with this whole cycle, then we just start it all over again, right? The intention, the attempt, the fail and learn part, and then the commitment. So of course, it's a lot easier and more fun to stay in intention and attempt. It feels like we're just continuing this really creative cycle. We get in the flow, we get a lot of attempts made, but sometimes we don't actually finish all the things to the extent that we really want to. So for this, what I'm asking you to do is look at this and think about where you need balance. Okay, I don't want to tell you to work in a different way, but I want you to look at how you do work. So where do you need balance in your process? For example, I'm pretty high on the fact finder, right? So I'm good with imagination and ideas, intention. And I'm also good with getting started really quickly. Where I do need balance is I need systems to keep me accountable, and I need help in actually doing the work. So I know I'm not really that much different from anyone else who's an artist. But it's interesting because a few of the artists that I've talked to and have given me their results, mostly the ones that work in really detailed modes and really detailed work, tend to be kind of the opposite of this. They're really good at actually doing the work, but not as good on getting started or finding out, the information and the ideas around it. So it's pretty interesting to look at this for yourself. So think about this as your creative engine. And I want you to think about working with your strengths, not against them, and trying to think of this commitment scale as having 4 parts rather than 3 parts. Intention, attempt, fail and learn, be comfortable with failing, and comfortable with learning, and then committing. I hope this helps you understand your creative process a little bit better.